will get to 80 or 90,000 visa. Many of these visas are also multiple long-term visa because we want our Turkish friends to travel several times to Italy. And we are able to issue this visa usually in 3-4 days. And we see in easing and liberalizing visa something that is beneficial both for our Turkish friends and also for Italy. We are very happy of the Turkish tourists that travel to Italy, of the Turkish businessmen that go to Italy, and we want to do anything to ease this flow of people.
Exactly. The growing number of visas also shows that the growing number of trade relationships and tourism between the two countries. One other question is about Euro. Your Excellency, Turkey has a strong desire to become a member of European Union, partially because of economic reasons. And it seems that Euro is in a kind of crisis. What do you think about the future of Euro?
Well, Europe and Euro, which is maybe the most tangible economic sign of the European unity, has been a great achievement. I mean, if you can think of all these big and small European countries that for many centuries had fought wars or were not in good relationship, and now they work together and they share a common currency, it is a big success. Of course, it takes time to stabilize. The international market is tough, there is competition, but as an overall picture, if you look in an historical framework, you can see that European unification and the European currency is a big advantage. It's a big advantage for inter-European exchanges. It has eased a lot the flow of goods, and it's also been quite successful in the world. Of course, the international crisis has hit several European countries, as it has hit several non-European countries. And we are working together to solve the issue. I mean, this is the most important fact that we should always stress. Not only the problem, but the way that we are trying to solve the problem. Together, in peaceful manner, helping each other, European states and people helping each other. This is very important.
What do you think about Turkey's membership? Will Turkey ever become a member of the European Union?
We wish so. We are strong supporter as Italy. We are very strong supporter of the Turkish accession to the European Union. It's a process that is taking some time. It should be accelerated. We are trying to help our Turkish friends to overcome the difficulties. We are talking to our European partners. It is something that eventually will arrive, and I personally hope that it will arrive very soon. Of course, you said that mainly for economic reason. Actually, Turkey is already integrated in the economy of the European Union. Most of the trade is with European countries. Most of the investment is coming from European countries. So we could see that actually Turkey is already a member of the European Union economically. Of course, it has now to become a member formally, to have a say in the organization of the European Union. I was at a conference where a former Spanish Prime Minister reminded us, also the Turkish friends that were present, that for Spain also it took a long time to become a member of the European Union. So Turks should not be discouraged by the difficulties of the process.
Yes, I know, but it has been more than a half century. Anyway, what do you think about Turkey's foreign policy? What's Italian government stance towards Turkey's new foreign policy?
Well, we share a lot with Turkey's foreign policy. Why? Because of our position. Italy and Turkey are both two countries that are deep in the Mediterranean, that share a common maritime border with the southern part of the Mediterranean. So we are very sensitive to what is happening on the other side of the Mediterranean. And this is one of the reasons why we support also Turkish accession to the EU, because it's bringing something that we also consider very, very, very important. I mean, sensitivity to the regional issues that are issues very close to our borders, that we follow, both countries follow with great interest.
Now that you mentioned regional issues, What's the Italian government's attitude towards the Arab Spring or the rebellions in the Middle East?
Well, we are, of course, very much concerned because, as I mentioned, all these countries are our neighbors. They are a few hours away by boat from the Italian coast, because Italy is really in the middle of Mediterranean. Our northern part is very close to the Central European countries. Our southern part is very close to the North African coast and Arab countries. We have had always a very active foreign policy and investment in those countries. And so we are very much worried, and we try to help stabilize the situation. Of course, we are a strong supporter of all the democratization process that are going on, and we hope that we will finally find a stabilization and a more prosperous area with trade, which will be beneficial for both the northern part of the Mediterranean and the southern part itself.
And you are receiving so many illegal migrants from your south border, from the Mediterranean. Is there any policy, immigration policy towards the illegal migrants, and what about the humanitarian aspect of those migrants?
Yes, of course. We are, as I said, a country that is deep in the Mediterranean. A few hours by boat, small boat, mid-sized boat, you can reach the Italian coast. So we know that these problems have to be solved through cooperation. We try to reach agreements with the southern Mediterranean countries to deal with these issues. At the same time, we are ready and we are working, especially with the European Union, because it's not only an Italian problem; it's a larger problem, to help those people that arrive to the coast. To provide help for the boats that often are in trouble. I mean, it's a huge problem, and we want to work it out also with our European friends and institutions.
I'd like to ask some questions about culture as well. What is the cultural presence of Italy in Turkey, and are there any institutions in Istanbul or in some other parts of Turkey promoting Italian culture and arts? What are the situation of educational institutions? Are there schools, university departments teaching in Italian or Italian language departments?
Well, you know, the Italian cultural influence in Turkey is very old. It's interesting to say that some Turkish words come from Italian, for instance. In the financial sector, for instance, the word banca comes from the Italian, or giro, it's also an Italian word. Also in the nautical terms, guverte, nostromo, these are all coming from Italian. So it means that we have had a very old relationship. Nowadays also there is a strong interest in the Italian culture, and we are trying to cope with this demand. We have one cultural institute here in Istanbul and another one in Ankara. They are very active. We have several thousand Turkish students that are taking Italian lessons in our cultural institute. We have cultural programs spanning from movies to theaters, to music, exhibitions, anything you can imagine, because Istanbul is such an active place now that we are able to provide, and we are trying to provide the best of the Italian production in the several fields. But not only the Cultural Institute is active in this field, we also have schools, very old schools in Istanbul. Created in the 1860s, 1870s, and still existing. Just near this Consulate General, we have high school, the Italian high school, which was created in 1888, so it's pretty old, with 400 students. Most of them are now Turks, and they study for years, 5 years, with the preparatory class. And each year there are about 80 students that graduate from this school. We also, or even more, maybe nowadays even 100. We just had the ceremony yesterday, so I am I'm very happy. We also have another Italian high school, which was renovated recently, another private Italian high school. We have elementary schools, so we have a wide range of educational offer, and we are also planning to have an Italian-Turkish university set up. It's something that is in the process of being working out.
Your Excellency, we are coming to the end of our discussion. Do you have one final message for our audience?
Final message for our Turkish friends is that things are going very well between our two countries because our two people are friends. We share a common geographical area. We are both in the Mediterranean. We share a lot from history, and we also share a lot in the present and in the future. So you always have friends on the other side of the Mediterranean in Italy.
Italian Consul General Gianluca Alberini, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
This was the Diplomats. Thank you for watching us.